Welcome to Femme Parler Podcast, where we are unpacking opinions and changing destinations. I am your host, Sherese, where each week we will chat about how to rise strong out of all types of obstacles that come with relationships. Through personal life experiences and discussions ranging from infidelity, trust, forgiveness, sex, heartbreak, self-love, and so much more. I am passionate and obsessed to provide guidance to every woman to create a better life. Let's dive in, pull up a seat, make sure you're cozy, and get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn. With me, your virtual girlfriend. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of Femme Parler Podcast. Today we have story time and we have a special guest with us today. Sherese Shy Holmes is a speaker, coach, and entrepreneur known for her ability to shift women from confusion to clarity in just one conversation. She empowers women with practical strategies that generates results. With a formal education in business, taxes, and auditing, Sherese uses a no-fluff approach to formulating ideas, developing an action plan, and creating solutions for her life and business coaching clients. So everyone, I would like to welcome Sherese today as our guest. I appreciate her coming on the show, and I'm going to pass the mic for her to continue introducing herself.
First, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today and super grateful for the space. I think you pretty much covered everything that I would like to share in the little intro that I provided. This is just really my passion. Business has always been my passion. As far as I can remember, even from being a child, watching my grandmother have her own salon in a predominantly white neighborhood. And her salon was super successful. Not only did she own her own salon, but she was always selling something. I mean, from bags to purses to two-piece sets before Fashion Nova was even cool. Like, she was doing it all. And so just watching her provide not only for my mom and her kids, because my mom was the oldest, and I was the first grandchild. So when I was born, some of the kids were still in the house. They call me like the fifth child because my grandma had 4 kids. So I watched her just provide phenomenally for us. My grandfather had this rule where he was like, I'm going to take care of the bills, the utilities, anything concerning the house, and anything extra you want to do. Her name is Yvonne. He's like, anything extra you want to do, Vaughn, that's on you. So the private school, the tailored summer clothes, all that stuff came from my grandma and her business. And just seeing the power that came from her as a Black woman was so inspiring for me to want to be able to do the same.
That is good. Now, you are a woman of multiple streams of income.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've always been an entrepreneur, or have you ever been in a corporate job or a 9-to-5?
Oh, no, I've always been both.
Okay, good.
Yes, so
good.
I would say, I'm going to say this. I always knew that I was supposed to be in entrepreneurship, but I ended up slipping to what I call a shadow career. And in that regard, I will say, when you're going to school and you're picking your major, you're deciding in college, like, what do you actually want to be? I decided, that this new major had just come out and it was called entrepreneurship, right? But my parents are pastors, y'all. And when I say,
that's the back end of the story. The parents are pastors. That was the motivation.
Yeah,
we'll hear the rest in a minute.
But this is it. The whole live by faith. They took it very seriously. And so I, on the other hand, was like, okay, if I go into entrepreneurship, I don't know if I didn't believe in myself enough, right? I don't know if I'm going to make it. So I remember thinking to myself, well, our church needs an accountant. Somebody will always need someone to count their money. I'm just going to get a degree in accounting because that's quote unquote safe. And there onward, I slipped into what I would call my shadow career. So I had the opportunity to look at tax returns and financial statements and audit and basically tell people what they were doing wrong in their business, getting extremely close to entrepreneurship as I possibly could, right? Looking at everybody else from the outside in examining their businesses and what's working and what's not, but never actually doing that myself. And so that led to a lot of internal turmoil, knowing that I never really followed my calling to the degree in which I knew I was capable, right? So that led to a lot of side hustles.
Oh, okay.
Lots of side hustles while I tried to figure out what's going to be my thing, what's going to be my, my niche. But yeah, that's I've always been in both, I would say. Whether it was, I used to sell, when I first got started, y'all, I used to have a dance team, and I used to make all their uniforms and all their tools. So the flags, all of our hoops, all kinds of crazy stuff. I would make it myself. Go ahead.
You're a seamstress as well?
I am one of those people who will pick up a skill if I needed to work. So
okay.
The parents didn't always have money for the uniforms and the crazy ideas I had in my mind for what I wanted the dance team to be able to do and look like, because we were not going to be out here looking shabby by any means. So I would do a lot of fundraisers, and then I would take the money, and if we couldn't afford to pay for it, like actually have someone else create it, I would just learn. And
look at you.
And I was just like creating stuff. Tried to, yeah. But it got so good that other churches started recognizing. They're like, hey, can you make this? Can you make that? So that was my first side hustle.
Side hustle while you're going to school to be an accountant.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So now tell me, where does Sherese become a pastor come into play into all this?
Okay. So with myself, again, being the oldest, my father very much, I would say he's before his time, so to speak, on the pastoral side, because a lot of pastors, especially senior pastors, they focus very much on having that son and the son taking over the church. And my father is like, I got a bomb daughter. Like, I do have a brother. But he very much was like, she could be my number two. He didn't really care whether or not it was his son or his daughter that took it over.
I see.
But he was very much focused on grooming and developing me to be able to handle the business of church, to be able to preach, prophesy, lay hands, do all that.
So your father actually had a church, and I guess in his retirement, this man was thinking, I need to pass it down to somebody, and he thought of Sherese.
Okay, so he's not even close to retiring. He's not even retiring right now, but he was thinking succession plan,
I see. Okay.
And so that's really how I ended up. So I won't say like he didn't just be like, oh, you're my daughter, I'm going to make you a pastor. There definitely was a lot of tests and training along the way and grooming along the way. I think I started off as a deacon. Yeah, I was a deacon first.
Okay.
So deacon, and then I proved myself faithful, and then minister. And then I believe right when I got married, that's when I and my ex-husband at the time got ordained as pastors when I got married.
Okay. All right. I mean, my grandpa was a pastor, and this girl you looking at here, you couldn't pay me enough money. Jesus, I love you, but I don't want to be no pastor. No, I don't want to be no pastor. So that's what I felt so intriguing. I was like, this girl was a pastor.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're doing all this. You become a pastor. Are you done accounting? Have you graduated with your bachelor's as an accountant?
Graduated yet. No, I think I was about 1 year out from graduating at that time. So I was still going to school. And I was also the financial officer for the church at the same time. So handling.
Is this a paid position or a volunteer position?
It's not a paid position.
It sounds so professional. I was a senior financial what? That's why I was like, is this a paid
financial
officer? Oh, Lord. Financial officer. Okay. So volunteer work. Okay. So now you're a pastor and you're now married.
Yes. So I'm working
so
at
how
the
are
church,
you supporting yourself?
25 hours
Where was your money
a week
coming in from?
From my ex-husband. God bless his heart.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Yeah. All right. So he was the one that was supporting while you were volunteering at the church, pastor, and in school.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Very interesting. Okay. All right.
I
And
mean,
it's
it just went
crazy
from
how
my
you just sit
father
here,
supporting me to my ex-husband supporting
your
me.
ex-husband
Yes.
supporting,
Yeah.
but you was still like doing little side hustles. Like you would have little chump change here
Oh,
and
for
there.
sure.
You just
Yeah. And
gotcha.
I think too, like a lot of the church members, I'll say this, our church members were extremely grateful for the work I was doing with their kids. I was tutoring folks, taking them to school, showing up when they were acting out, counseling. I
Oh,
was doing it all.
okay.
So the parents were like, I'm not gonna lie, for my birthday sometimes I would get almost $4,000 to $5,000 from them just blessing me. And then not to mention people just being like, God told me to give you this, God told me to give you this. So I wasn't like broke. I'll say that.
I see. You was never without because you went from your father to your ex-husband, but there was also money coming in at different times in your life.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that
Exactly.
makes sense. I get it. So now you're a married woman in school. We're going to fast forward. How did you ended up now divorcing the ex-husband? Why did things go astray?
Okay, so again, going back to what we just spoke on about financial security, I'm gonna honestly say that a lot of that decision came from the need for financial security. And so I chose my ex-husband because he was safe, not necessarily because we were compatible. And he was a really
I
good man.
see.
I really have nothing like bad to say about him, but I realized that so what happened is we ended up going through a very tumultuous time financially when the recession hit, right? And so
Mhm.
at that point, again, I've always been in a space of let me make it do what it do, right? Like if I got to go get another
Exactly.
job, if I got to do this, if I got to do that, I will. And because he came from a well-to-do family, his family business was hit pretty hard. Um, they ended up, I think, cutting his pay like 50%. Yeah,
That's a
it was a
lot.
steep cut, and he didn't really know what to do. And so for me, I was like, all right, well, I'll get at that time I was like, I had a job. And I was
Okay.
like, all right, I will just go get a second job. Like we can make it work. And I think he just
Mhm.
got into a space where he didn't know what to do or how to handle it. And literally just everything began to fall apart. And I felt like I was
I
carrying
see.
the financial burden alone for quite some time. And it was stressing me out. I think I gained something like 20 pounds. I
Mhm.
started getting sick all the time. It was just like, we were both in just a very dark space. And so, of course, we tried to go through counseling and other things, but it wasn't working out. So 100% transparency, y'all. I was the one that ended up cheating and having an affair. So yeah, smile on your face that just
Pastor
went
Sherese.
down.
Oh my God, Pastor Sherese. No, you didn't. What?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a few
Oh
questions. So
boy, here we
now,
go.
all right, I do have a few
Go ahead.
questions. I mean, I've had infidelity, both I've been the victim and the perpetrator. So no judgment here at all in this podcast. There's no judgment. So my first question is his pay was cut. And I understand men, that is hard for them because men they grow up in their mind, they're told by a lot of times their parents and society, you need to provide, you need to provide. You're the provider, you need to provide. So I guess I can understand how your ex-husband, that took a serious toll on him financially because this man went on providing to now he had to make serious cuts and modifications and you had to step in. So I don't know, from as a man, that probably devastated him. And I know most women wouldn't have a problem carrying the financial burden, but do you think it's because you started off the relationship with not a strong love connection and you saw him as security? And is that why you felt as though it was a burden?
I guess that could be part of the reason. I think I just honestly just became like super resentful. Like I would come in
Mm,
at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and he'd be like sitting in front of the TV with a box of pizza.
I
And I
see.
was just so angry. Like, why the hell can't you get up and work? Why can't you do like I'm out here hustling hard, for pennies, bro. Like, get up. And I think,
and 2 jobs, you said, because you said, I'll just get a second job. And you just said that freely. And you felt, okay, your pay was cut, but there
Let's
is
do
other work
something.
out there that you can find.
Right.
Do you find it hard, Sherese, for some men to do 2 jobs? Is that like a female thing, or am I just being ignorant in my thought process?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know a lot of men that have
Women will
worked
hold 2,
jobs.
3
Yeah.
jobs with no problem.
Yeah.
Like, this is something we hear about consistently. And I also feel it happens more in the Black community than anything. my children. I have more than one child. Their school is more predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to one of the son's mom, and I am a multiple stream of income woman. I'm a flight attendant. I also work at the hospital per diem. I run my podcast and my blog, and I have other things in the making. But when I told the woman she had 2 jobs, she was like, "You got 2 jobs?" And she was of Asian descent.
Yeah.
It was just like not a thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like Black women especially, we always doing 2, 3 things. Like, we always juggling many things at once. So my mindset has felt like, is working 2 jobs something a man just don't care to do? They feel like one should suffice? I don't know. That's just
we
my
have
thought
to ask
process.
some men about that.
I know. Maybe I need to do a season about that. Do y'all like working 2 jobs? Or that's just
maybe
something
they don't have the mental capacity. I don't even mean that in like a negative way. Just don't, like, they can't multitask very well. How do you handle 2 jobs if you can't multitask? You know?
You're absolutely correct. Men can't juggle many things at once.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a proven fact, and studies have been
Yes.
done. I don't have the numbers, but that is proven where they can't juggle many things at once, even when it comes to conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine a job.
Exactly.
So, okay. So my next question is, how did he find out about the infidelity? How long did the infidelity continue? And was he a pastor also?
Yes. We both were.
Get the fuck out of town. Girl. Yeah.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
Sherese, this is getting juicy. Okay?
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, how many years had you been married when you stepped out?
It was, I think we were 3 years in.
That's still new.
Yeah, very new. But I know the statistics say
Yeah.
like within the first 5 years are the hardest. As far as like if it's going to dissolve, it'll do so within the first 5.
I heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The affair wasn't going on that long. It really wasn't that long.
Okay.
And I had mentioned previously to him that I wanted to get a divorce before I ended up being an idiot. But it was like, no, please, I'll try. Let's go to counseling. I think at the point in which I said those words to him, in my heart, I was already separated. It just was the last thing to come out.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
out of wanting to be a good Christian girl, a good daughter, a good wife, I went ahead with the counseling, but my heart and mind were already far from where we were. We're just kind of like going through the motions. But somewhere in there, I thought like, okay, maybe this will be the last ditch effort and we can make it work. Counseling ended up not working at all. And it the same. It was just more of the same. And I was like, you know what? You tricked me. This is a lie. You weren't going to change. Like, what the? Okay. So I tried to bring it up again, and it was more resistance, like, no. And I was like, I'm so tired of hearing this. So I think I just got to a point where I was like, I'm trapped. I'm stuck. I can never get out of this. And ended up reaching out to an old friend, and got started in a bunch of foolishness.
Okay. How did ex-husband find out? Did you tell him or did he find out?
No, he found out. I don't know if this is every woman. I'll just speak for myself. Sherese has a tendency that when she gets fed up and tired, if I've already asked you nicely a couple times, at some point, I'm just going to start acting out in very obvious ways. It's not a secret. I'm not hiding or anything like that. Like I would just leave my phone out. Like you could see
intentionally
messages. Yeah. So I think one day he
Okay.
went to pay the phone bill and he noticed like all these messages, like phone numbers, just the same person. There wasn't a lot of people, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it makes it any
I
better, but
see.
just it was like, well, I don't want it to make it sound like I was talking to 40 guys or something like that. But
No, I get you because
it was
y'all had the same phone bill, so he probably saw this
the
number
same
that was
number
showing up several times.
consistently. Yeah. And he knew who
Mm-hmm.
it was. It was the guy that I was dating
He knew the man
before I got married to him.
before
Yes.
him.
So he knew him.
I see.
And
Okay.
so that was pretty much how I was like taking a nap and he woke me up and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, so I noticed all these numbers back and forth to him. I'm sorry. I noticed all these messages back and forth to him. What's going on? And then that's when I told him what happened.
Oh. What did he say? Did he want to work things out?
He wanted to
'Cause
work it out.
you,
He felt responsible.
but you did not.
Yes. No.
So
Okay.
you have.
Let me say this. And okay, so this is the knee-jerk reaction, I think, when you get caught. As much as you might in
Okay.
your mind already be believing like, I'm over it, I'm out, like I just want to be let go, I just want to
Mhm.
get out of the situation, there is a level of guilt that immediately sets in on you, right? And so there
Yes.
is this need to fix, repair, and reconcile the damage that you can physically see on someone that you loved and cared about, right? And so it was
Mm-hmm.
very hard for me when he was pleading and saying, you know, please, can we make this work, for me to just be like, no, I'm over it. So that I
Gotcha.
responded in that knee jerk, I'm so sorry that, nah, I won't. I hate when people say like, I'm sorry I caused you that pain. Because if you were really sorry, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. You're just sorry you got caught.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I didn't like seeing the pain. I didn't like seeing the repercussions of my actions on him. So I was like, okay, let me
Mm-hmm.
try. Maybe one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we tried one more time.
And it didn't work.
Same thing.
So you definitely
Same
knew it
thing.
was over
Yeah.
and move forward. Did you finally take that big leap and step and get the paperwork and served him?
I didn't personally serve him, no. But I was the
Oh, God,
one
no,
to
I got you,
just
but you processed it.
just pack up and just move out. Yeah, it was
Just go.
me.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
And at that
And did the
point,
affair still continue?
did what? I'm sorry?
The affair?
No, I was going to say at that point, so the second time around when I went through counseling, the only thing I knew at that point was like, you're getting way too messy out here, girl. You out here looking like a whole fool. You've become a woman you've never thought you would ever be. Look at what
Mm-hmm.
you've become. And I was so embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
of myself, how I hurt him and my family. I was like, this is not you. Even if you don't want to be here anymore, this is not you. And so the counts, I guess, worked to that degree on me. And then I was like, I need to get a clear
Mm-hmm.
mind. I need to get a clear head and clear emotions. I can't be engaging with someone else and then trying to get a divorce at the same time. So the second
Mm-hmm.
time around, I literally like cut it off, clean slate. And it wasn't even out of, oh, I got caught. It was just like, I don't want to be her anymore. Like, that's not me. I've never been this
Mm-hmm.
person. And so I just decided like, I can't carry this burden anymore. So let's just get clean and have a clear slate and then just make a decision from a sober mind with sober emotions and a clear plan. So that's pretty much by the time I walked out the door, it definitely was over.
Okay, gotcha. So would you say within 5 years of the marriage, it was already dissolved and over? From start
Yeah,
to
I think the
finish?
start to finish
What year were you
was
in?
6 years. Yeah.
Okay, so within 6 years, you were married, the infidelity took place, and you were now divorced. Okay, all right. Did your parents know? Like, are you close to them? Is that something you shared with them, or did you share after?
My dad knew, like, on the second time, I think my dad knew. I think I told him. Well, my ex-husband called him and told him. So,
Okay.
they definitely, my family, my
What
parents
the
knew.
heck?
So for me, it was a whole opening of unworthiness at that point. So now the golden child, and I'm not like giving myself this title. That's how my family definitely viewed me. I was the oldest grandchild and oldest child, and my mom is also the oldest. So it kind of like created this like she works for the church and she's got her degree and she's doing all these amazing things in the community, and like almost to the degree of like she's perfect. I was not by any means. And so it's like a hard fall from grace at that point. Because you're just...
Would you have told your parents if your ex-husband didn't?
Yeah.
Oh, you would have eventually told them.
And okay. I mean, let's be honest. When your parents are pastors and when your parents know you, they already know. You're not hiding anything.
Were you close with them?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not.
My dad and I are like this. He knows.
So then that makes sense. Okay. All right. Because I'm close with my mother, but not like this. I wouldn't even say I'm close with my mother, because when it comes to my relationship, Sherese, I share nothing with my parents because it's a very biased and it's a one-way street, and they don't know how to think outside the box. So that's where I set my boundary. So I guess it just depends on the relationship you have with your parents. Love them to death, but that's where I set my boundary because they're very biased in their thinking. So I just keep them out of it. But I know all children are not like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So now you're divorced. You're obviously, are you still working the 2 jobs?
One of the other jobs was working for my ex-husband's family's company. So that job was...
Tell me, did you leave right away?
So I will say this. The second time around, again, remember I said I was like, okay, get rid of this other guy, go from a clear, sober place, have a plan. I, at that point, said I need to get a job away from both of our families, because I know when crap hits the fan, like everybody's gonna hate me. I already knew it. So I was like, I need to detach from the church, and not detach from them. Like, I don't want to be here anymore, even though I did get to that space. We could talk about that later. But detach from needing their financial support from either of our families.
I see.
So by that time, I was like, okay, we're in the recession. I need a job that's stable. So I ended up working. I miraculously got a job with the IRS. Surprisingly. Yes. They told me over 1,000 people applied and they only hired 6.
That's a blessing.
Yes,
Look at God blessing you. Like, okay, Sherese, even though you're going down some paths I don't like, we're going to send you to recovery, and it's okay. I got you, girl. Okay. All right. So that's good. You found that job. And are you still there?
No, I'm not. But that job, I started off, it was a huge pay cut for me. That's when I took up the second job. Another second job, though, that one was completely different. I was working for Massage MV, and it was based on sales and commission.
Okay.
But I was making like $37,000 living in California. Had to move in with 4 other grown women.
$37,000 in California. That is nothing. You're barely surviving.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely second job was... I just needed something, versus depending on his family.
Versus nothing. You needed something. And it was just you. Do you have any children, Sherese?
No, thank goodness.
Okay, so it was just you. So now we're fast forwarding. The pastor went through her trials and tribulations, but life has completely shifted for you, because now, of course, in the topic, I did give a little briefing. So let's remind everyone exactly what you do now presently in your life, and how do you help other women?
So through all of those trials and tribulations.
But you know what, though, Sherese, this is good. This is good. I love women that speak not only from a educational standpoint, but when you're talking to women, you're speaking from experience.
Yes, exactly.
What happened to you happened to you. It is what it is. We're human. We're prone to error. We're going to make mistakes. None of us are perfect, but you can speak from experience. So you have to, look at the positive of it. You never freaking know. That's why when women are like, I would never, honey, you never know what you're going to do. 38-year-old Shirley now, 20 years ago, if you had asked me, I would have never thought I would cheat on this man. But guess what? I did. And I can't beat myself up about it. So, I look at it as you speak from a space of experience, and you you know, this is something that gives you a bad taste in your mouth that you don't want to do,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it that you're helping other women? Because also in here, in our conversation point, I wanted to bring something else up. You share a 3-step strategy to creating consistent success in your life and in your business. So I want to hear about that.
Okay. So I will say this has caused me to have a deeper level of compassion for people, period. Just going through that, like
Mm-hmm.
I was on a little bit of a high horse, y'all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great things. A bit of self-righteous, a bit of
Mm-hmm.
super holy, I can't be touched. And then when you
Yeah,
fall
I'm
from
Pastor Sherese.
yes. I don't what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you can't just do right? Okay. God was like, all right, we'll see you next year. Let's we'll see what you're talking about next year. But that created a deeper level of compassion and empathy for so many other
Mm-hmm.
people, their struggles and what they're going through. It gave me patience.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a tenderness and a sensitivity that I did not have before. And I think too, just
That's
being
good.
young and
That's
naive and
good.
thinking like life works in a linear one-way fashion, that definitely broke. I was on a timeline. I want to get married by this age, have kids by this age, have my master's degree by this age.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff got destroyed. So
Yeah.
coming full circle though, that took me on the journey where I had to learn how to embrace my emotions. Just
Gotcha.
diving into deep depression, as you could probably guess afterwards, basically getting
Mm-hmm.
rejected from my family, my church, and just, literally having like no support. I definitely slipped into a very, very dark space after that, and having to move in with
Mm-hmm.
4 other women and going from a house that was constructed from the ground up for me and that I personally had decorated. I mean, like all of the stars and bells and whistles that I was used to were stripped from me. They're gone. And
Gotcha.
so I had
Gotcha.
to come to a reckoning of what I had done and the place that it had gotten me into. And I remember my first little purchase that I had made after the divorce. I had gotten myself a black convertible Mustang. And I thought,
First little purchase.
I mean, I think it was like
What?
5 years. So, okay. At the time, I was used to driving like a whole different thing. Let me say that. And it was like
I
5
see.
years
So
old.
I guess you went from like Rolls Royce to now Porsche. When you say my first little purchase.
Right.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So let me tell you, this is like the turning point where I realized that I was the creator of the chaos. I was literally so in this house with the 4 other women. So it was 5 of us total. My bedroom was in the
Mm-hmm.
front of the house, so I could see out on the street. And I remember like being in the
Gotcha.
laundry room, and I heard like this loud screeching noise and tires and just like smashing sounds, and I'm like, oh my God, let me go see what it is, right? And in my mind, I was like, I know my car is involved. This is when I tell y'all, it's a whole street of cars, a whole street, like cars parked on both sides. So I run to the front, I look out the window, I drop my laundry basket, and guess the only parked car that got hit? It was mine.
Was your car.
My little cute, I'm fast.
Little Mustang.
Sally. That's what my family was calling me.
Mustang Sally. Ooh, that's God waking you up again, telling you, okay, let me shake you up a little more and go get a Honda.
It's so funny because I actually did get one after that. So my family was calling me that. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I'm cursed. I was like crying. So it was to the point where I was like, Sherese, there was 2 cars involved. Both of them were driving, and then my car was the only one that got hit. So I remember looking at the flipped over truck. My car was parked, and all I could think about was myself. And I was like, girl, if you don't get out of yourself, get out your feelings, and go outside and see if this man is okay. So I pull myself together. I go outside and check and make sure that he's okay. And then the other guy's okay too. And then I get their information and stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I cannot believe this. I remember going back in the house and crying, and my roommate coming up behind me. And I was like, I remember saying the words like, I'm cursed. I deserve this, for all the stuff that I've done. This is my reward. These are the consequences of my actions. And she said, Sherese, you've done so much for so many people. Why do you believe that now that you're cursed? She was like, maybe this stuff is happening to you because you keep allowing it and you believe you deserve it. So you're attracting all of these events towards you. And I was like,
absolutely.
What?
Very true. Yeah, that's an enlightening message because it is real. You are attracting that negative energy to you.
Yes. And it was literally that point where it was like, okay, I need to get control of my emotions. I need to get control of my thoughts. I need to get control of the words that I'm speaking and pronouncing and the vowels that I'm saying. Keep saying I'm cursed, I'm cursed, I'm cursed. Like, of course, you're just going to see things where you're cursed. So that was my journey into embracing my emotions and just working on the whole entire concept of what does it mean to go from being a complete failure in life into what I want to see as a successful woman. So the first thing that I learned in that was part of the 3-step system to success that you were just discussing. And I would say the very first one, just based off that experience of all the horrible, and I had some horrible things going on at work too. I'll say that as well. To the point where I was like crying every day. I was a hot mess, y'all. Like crying every day. I would leave work and go to the beach and lay on my yoga mat and just cry. Like, why does my boss hate me so much?
Oh, life was
tough.
so
extra, y'all. But legit though, he was like, no, that man was crazy. But anyway, it was a whole nother story. But that's the first thing I learned in my success system. Step 1 is to know that it's not external. Success is not external. Success is internal. Like you are the well. It's your gifts. It's your talents. It's your wisdom. It's your experience. It's, the unique things that you know how to do that make you successful. You have to bet on you. You cannot expect having that husband or having other people supporting you or having other people to cheer you on or somebody to acknowledge how good you are or how great you are in order for you to be successful. It doesn't start that way. Success starts with you. It's an internal job. It's an inside job. The second step to that is redefining what success means to you. So because my father and I are super, super close, I used a lot of his measurements to determine what success should be for Sherese. So whether that's becoming a millionaire or being a congresswoman or being a real estate guru, whatever those terms were, I had to get clear on like, okay, Sherese, what does success mean to you? Because I didn't even know. I didn't know what that was. I really thought it was whatever my father had, groomed me to believe to be true. And of course, his intentions were pure and true. And I just accepted them, especially as a child. You just accept them to be. So I had to redefine that. Am I successful now? Am I at the point in my life where I am successful? What does that look like to Sherese? So I had to get clear on that. And everybody doesn't need a 7-figure business. And I tell people that as a business coach, we hear that all the time, like 7-figure business, 8-figure business. That's the goal. That's what we should be striving for. But do you really need $1 million to be happy or $5 million to be happy? Like, what do you actually need? So redefine that. So one of the things I like to do with my clients, I'm going to give you a really quick tip here, is to define your monthly income goal. So what do you want to give? What do you want to gain? And what are your responsibilities, right? And then come up with a number from there. And then figure out what it is I need to meet monthly to get that number. So don't focus on the overall, I have to get to 6 figures, I have to get to 7 figures. But what's your actual number that you need to meet every month in order for you to feel successful? So what do you want to give? That could be obviously to the church. It could be maybe your friend's birthday is coming up and you want to take your girls out, or you want to take your family on a vacation to the Caribbean or something like that in 2 months. So that's your give. That's your give number. You write that down. How much do I need in order to take them on vacation or do whatever it is you want? And then, of course.
So I wrote down, hold on, define your monthly income goal. Did I write that down incorrectly? That's okay. Define your monthly income goal. And then part of the, and you said, what do you want to,
the part of defining that is what do you want to give? What do you want to gain? And how much is your responsibilities for the month? It's the GGG. Yeah.
Gotcha.
R.
Give, gain,
and your responsibility.
And responsibility. Okay.
GGR, I think. GGR. I think I said
Okay.
GGR. So,
Gotcha.
and then your gain is what do you want to do specifically just for you, just for fun? You know, what do
Okay.
you want? Like, do you want to go stay at a nice hotel? Do you want to buy yourself that nice bag? Do you want a spa day? Do you want a babysitter for just 2 nights? Whatever it is that, you know,
Do you want to hire a VA?
exactly, right? Whatever it is, you put that in your gain section. And then your
Okay.
responsibilities are just your monthly expenses. That's it. And then you
Okay.
can come up with
All
your
right.
unique goal, not the one that everybody
Gotcha.
else is telling you need to be reaching for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So one was it is not external.
Mhm.
Is this part of the 3 strategies?
Yes, it's not external. And 2 is redefining what success looks like to you.
I
So,
mean, and
and
3?
I didn't get there yet. And then I was just
Oh,
giving
okay. I
you
just wanted to make sure
a
I didn't
quick
miss it.
tip
Okay.
on how to redefine success based on your monthly income goal. That was just a little
Gotcha.
extra that I threw in
Gotcha.
there. And then for
Okay.
number 3, what I would really like you all to focus on is to be committed to that success. So whatever your number is that you've come up with, commit wholly. Like go all in. So if your number is 6, like I need to make 7,000, I need to make 10,000, I need to make 4,000
A month, right? We're
month.
talking about.
Go
Okay.
all in and commit. Like it's gonna happen. So I'm into the manifestation and attraction and all of that. It definitely works. The visualization completely helps. But we have to balance that masculine and feminine power centers, right? So I would say the manifestation and attraction focuses more on the feminine power centers, where the masculine side focuses more on the strategy, the steps, and the execution plan to get there.
Gotcha.
So when we commit wholeheartedly, we're combining both of those sides together in order to produce a greater result. A lot of us have distorted masculine and feminine power centers. So either we are on the feminine side a lot, where we're sitting in the manifestation and attraction side, and we're waiting for someone to help me build my website. I'm waiting for someone to help me with the tech. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting to lose 10 pounds before I launch. We're just in this waiting place, thinking like it's going to just naturally come to us, right? Because the feminine side, we're created to receive, right? We're just thinking it's naturally going to come to us. But when you don't have this wounded or distorted feminine side, you can now add that masculine side to build the strategy, to build the execution, and create the plan of, yes, I am going to receive, but here are the steps on how I'm going to receive it. You marry the union of the masculine and the feminine power centers together.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that. And I think I gravitate more towards the feminine side. And I need to learn how to have good balance for the business when it comes to success. Very interesting.
I think
so
for a lot of people that are on the feminine side, I was one that was on the masculine side. I was grinding the heck out. Like, I'm finna make this work. But for those that are on the feminine side, it's almost like this. And I've found this in places in my business too, where I've done this. It's almost like you waiting for someone to come save you from something, to give you something or pass you the next piece before you can move forward. And that's kind of how you can identify that distorted feminine or wounded feminine side, and you can address which parts of you need to heal.
Gotcha. Interesting. I like that because I definitely find myself at times doing that. At times, even the conversation we had off air about the mailing list. Instead of me maybe executing, I'm waiting and things are just sitting there. So, and I'm not being as productive as I should.
Yep, exactly.
But
we've got some
very interesting.
Some steps and techniques already in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I know that I need to work on. Okay, so before we go and before I review what you just said to us, presently at the moment, what is your source? Like, you are a full entrepreneur. You don't work 9 to 5.
No, I'm actually quitting at the end of this year.
Oh, blessing. So you're quitting the 9 to 5 at the end of the year because business has been doing so well that you are able to leave.
Yes, I've been consistently hitting 10K months. And so right now I'm just focused on knocking out debt.
That's a blessing.
Yes. such a huge,
That's a
huge
blessing. So when you say consistently, like over 12 months.
Well, I think I've been doing it for like 6 months now. So I'm more focused on like knocking out these stupid student loans.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's where I need to be consistently hitting 10K months in the business, but I need to get myself to that point. And very interesting. Very interesting. I'll talk to you more off air. So
Okay.
just to review what we said today. So Sherese shares 3-step strategies to creating consistent success, and I can't talk, in her life and your business. And the 3 steps are: it is not external. Number 2, redefining what success means to you. And she breaks that down into what do you want to give, gain, and your responsibility. She calls it the GGR. And step 3 is be committed to that success. So, of course, there's going to be definitely more information that's going to be provided on the website. We're going to have all her website information, her bio, her beautiful picture so you could see her face. And this is a woman that literally hit rock bottom. We're talking about Pastor Sherese, guys, okay? Went through infidelity, divorce, and now this woman has changed her life around. The last 6 months, she has been consistently making 10K a month, getting ready to leave the 9 to 5. So y'all sitting on that couch and saying, I can't, I this, I that. Y'all better figure something out, because there is a way. All right. There is a way. You need to be grinding and doing what you're doing. When she was talking about the masculine and the femininity, we need to find unison, because I definitely know I'm more on the feminine side and I need to tap into my masculine side more. But as we end today's podcast, would you like to leave the listeners with one kind word or positive influence, motivation, whatever you would like to leave them with?
One of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to paraphrase it here, so in case anybody Googles it and sends you a message like, she didn't say it exactly. You know how people are.
I know.
They will come for you if they can. One of my favorite quotes are by Carl Jung, and he was saying to the effect that until you make the unconscious conscious, you will call it fate and it will rule your life. So creating that level of awareness around our gaps, around our limiting beliefs, around the internal resistance, and understanding the roots of where that came from, until we get there, we're just going to keep blaming the system and blaming other people and blaming our environment, and not understanding that really I'm a conscious creator of my reality. Again, me calling myself cursed, I was attracting all those things to myself. Exactly. And when I decided that was no longer my portion, and that I wanted to do something completely different in my life, that's when things started to turn around and go up. It started with me. Again, success is internal. So that's what I want to share with everyone. We have way more power internally than we give ourselves credit for. It's not so much everyone around us. It really is us.
Gotcha. Very, very inspiring. All right, ladies and gents. So as we end today, thank you for listening as always, and love yourself, voice yourself, and be yourself. Until the next podcast, guys, have a great day.